Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. In this video, we're going to be talking about the difficulty in saying no and why it's important to say no. And we're just going to talk about the concept of saying no. Okay, so why do we find it so difficult to say no? So there are two different ways I'm going to talk about. There are probably many different ways, different things, but there are two things that I'm going to talk about right now. We feel shame around saying no for two completely opposite kind of things. One is we feel shame for saying no in the first place. We feel shame because we feel like we should be saying yes. Let's say we feel that somebody is just asking us for things all the time. They're not giving to us when they want. Just they reach out only when they want something, and they only ask for things when they reach out. Every time they reach out, and we feel resentful about that. We don't want this person to, we want something. Okay, so then if they ask us for something, even if they're asking us for something that's like that takes 30 seconds or something, maybe we don't want to give it, and we feel shame that we don't want to give it. We feel shame that we are not at a high enough consciousness level within ourselves that we can be forgiving to that person and we can just give like this 30-second thing. We feel shame that we are not good enough people, that we are willing to give this person whatever. So that's one thing we feel. Or it might not be just even a 30-second thing. We can feel shame for anything. We can feel shame because we're not spending 1 hour driving somewhere to drop something off because somebody asked us to do something, and we don't want to do that, right? Or we feel shame that we're not spending 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months, whatever, like we can feel or 2 years, we can feel shame for anything. If somebody asks us to do something for them, we can, however long or short it is, it doesn't even matter whether it's 30 seconds or 2 years or 20 years that they're asking us. We feel shame when we say no because we feel like we should be able to give. We should be giving people. If they need something, then we should be there for them to help them. And if we're not doing that, then we're not good people. We're not good enough people. That's one thing. And the opposite thing is we feel shame afterwards, after we've done it, for not saying no. So it's both. Like we feel shame when we say no, we feel shame when we don't say no. For example, when we don't say no, examples are like when, when kids, I've heard so many people talk to me about that when they're abused as kids, or when somebody comes up to them, when a man approaches them and they're like even 3 years old or even 15 years old, it doesn't matter. When somebody approaches them and they start to do inappropriate, when a man approaches either a little boy or a little girl and they start to do inappropriate things, then the person doesn't necessarily have this understanding at that time to say no, right? So sometimes people will just go along with it, and then they'll feel real amount of shame afterwards that why didn't I say no at that time? Why didn't I walk away? Why did I stay? There is so much shame around that people have, so much shame. Or staying or saying yes to a relationship they didn't want because they're afraid of losing somebody, or staying in a relationship for way too long that they shouldn't have stayed in, because that means that you're saying yes to that relationship every moment that you know that you're not supposed to be in that relationship, but you're staying in it. So you're saying yes in every moment to that. You're saying yes every day for years, decades. You can be saying yes to that relationship where you should be saying no and you should be walking away. So there is a lot of shame around both these. Whether there's shame if you don't say yes, and there's shame if you don't say no. And the other, okay, so why does this shame happen? So that we feel fear by saying no. What do we feel when we are saying no? Is we feel fear. What is the fear that we feel? One is that we will lose that person. That is the obvious reason, right? We will lose that person if we say no. This person wants us to do something for them, and if we don't do it for them, they will think that we are not good people. They will not want to spend time with us. So we're getting something from them in that moment, right? What are we getting? Most of the time it's like we want to feel loved, so we're getting some semblance of, like, I mean, I don't think this is real love, but we're getting some semblance of, yes, this person is going to choose to spend their time with me. This person is going to choose to love me. This person is going to perhaps feel genuine appreciation. And some people will ask you for things and they will say thank you, thank you, thank you. They will really genuinely appreciate you as well. And some people won't even bother to say thank you. Either way, it can feel draining to us if we do something for them, because we're not feeling that reciprocation from that person. So we feel, but we still do it because we what we are getting is some sense of, okay, I have people in my life, I have somebody in my life, I have somebody to talk to, and maybe I talk to them and I get some ideas for something that helps me in my life, or maybe I just feel appreciated, or maybe I just feel like a um, um, I feel good about something. Okay, maybe I feel like there is something that they've promised me. I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to give you something. I'm going to, something. Maybe they've promised a while ago that they're going to do something for you, and they haven't done it yet. So maybe you're like, maybe if I keep doing things for them, they will do this thing for me because I need that thing from them. For me, a big one is that I want to grow really badly. I want to grow in my personal growth, spiritual growth. So, if the person has the capability or the intellect, or the ability to have intellectual conversations around that kind of stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'll get that intellectual conversations. Maybe I desperately want a study partner to study things with, because it helps me to study versus studying alone. So I'm like, oh, I lose this study partner, and I've lost a study partner in this last month. That's why I'm saying that. Or maybe potentially, I've potentially lost a potential study partner. Let's put it that way. Um, but yeah, so there is something that we want many times from that person, and most of the times it's validation from the person that yes, that person likes me, that person wants me in their life. So see, I have this friend, I have friends, I am a good enough person to have friends, because otherwise people will judge me. You don't have any friends, you're alone, you're this, you're that, like all kinds of judgment that happens around that. So that's the fear of losing people, and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to end up alone. I'm going to be end up in this never dark, never land where nobody else exists, and I'm going to be living alone. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is the similar but slightly different, is that we don't know how to say no kindly. We don't feel like we are going to be good people when we say no. When we say no, it might come out in a way that's very harsh, and we will feel like we have lost respect for ourselves because we don't know how to say no, because we're feeling resentful at that time. The question is that we are facing is, why is this person asking us to do something in the first place? Shouldn't they know to not ask in the first place? Why are they making me say no? Why are they putting me in the difficult position to say no? So yeah, so but we don't know, and we don't know how to say no kindly, so we will be disrespectful, or we will just blow up, or we'll be like, no, I don't want to do this, and then we'll feel bad about it ourselves, because we're not respecting we don't feel respect for ourselves when we're getting angry with other people, when we're throwing up over other people, with our emotions. So we don't want to do that either. And then if we're not good people, if we're being angry or whatever, then again we're going to end up being alone, right? Because one, we don't respect ourselves and we're not worthy, and then we're going to end up just being alone. Okay, so these are some aspects of why we find it difficult to say no to people, the fear that drives it, and the shame that surrounds it. Okay, so now how do we handle it? The way we handle it is, this is where the concepts of self-love and self-acceptance comes in, and this is super crucial. We need to understand that we are where we are. What we have brought into this, what we have brought to where we are right now, is coming from not just this lifetime, but from so many billions of lifetimes that we've had in our past. We're bringing all of that into this, and when we bring all of that into this, it's easier for us to accept ourselves, because it's not just this lifetime that we should know all of this, we should understand all of this, we should know all of, like, we should be already, we should have learned this already. Oof, that is so difficult. Why haven't we already learned this? Maybe we've had this lesson many times in our lives before, or maybe we just think that we're supposed to be born with these lessons learned already within us, because they're just something we should already know. Either way, this should of we should know this, or we should have already learned this, and we are not. That is the opposite. That is self judgment, and that is absolutely the opposite of self acceptance and self love. Self acceptance means I accept. I truly fundamentally accept that I am at this place where I'm not at a high enough consciousness level that I can do this 30-second thing for this person and not feel resentful. So once I accept that I will feel resentful. Now I have two options. Either I do that thing for the person and I feel resentful and I live with that, right? Or I do not do that thing for the person and I feel shame for not doing that thing for the person and I don't feel resentful. So which do I choose? Do I feel resentment or do I feel shame? This is where I have firmly chosen to not feel resentment. The shame is coming from the belief that I am not enough. So the shame is something that I can work through. The resentment is not something I can force myself. The resentment, like I should be at a higher place, I'm not at a higher place. So I am going to feel the resentment. And if I'm feeling resentment for the person, then the relationship between me and that person is not real. It is not a good relationship. It is not a healthy relationship. So even though I do have a relationship with the person, there is these undercurrents all the time of this resentment and of this anger, and it's okay. I mean, the I might not express it to them even, and I might not express it to them for years, but the relationship that I am building with myself, even in that case, is a relationship where I'm not respecting my needs in that moment. I'm not loving myself, I'm not respecting my needs, and therefore I will just keep on being a doormat for other people, and my self-worth, I'm going to be on a downward spiral until I check it and say no. I am going to accept that I am at this consciousness level and I'm going to be honest. Truth is one of the highest frequencies on the planet. I'm going to be honest about where I am. And if that means that I don't do this thing, now, another thing that I felt shame about is that I've wanted to share my resources with people, right? Share my links, share my resources, and I do that. But there are some times where I feel like I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. And I feel so guilty. It's like, why do I not want to do that? But then I realize that what happens sometimes is I share people like I'm a part of this group and I allow people to come into that group, and if things don't work out between me and that person, if we have a falling out, then I'm finding it difficult to post things in my group, right? So yeah, I mean that what you do is you do things which feel right to you. It's not, I'm not saying don't include people in your groups. Of course I love to include people in my groups and I love to connect people, but I do that now from a place of when I'm feeling completely comfortable about it, that it's okay. I feel very, very good about this. I'm feeling happy that I'm connecting these two people. And if they get together, that's great. And if things fall out off between me and them, that's great too. It doesn't matter. I'm not worried. I'm not, but there are still some situations where I am worried, where I'm not telling people everything. And that took a lot of shame, like that took a lot of time to overcome that shame. So yes, self love. So the choice is, do you accept to live with that shame which you feel like you're going to feel and the loss of the friendship, or do you choose to accept living with resentment? And I feel, and it's your choice, you can choose whatever you want to. I have come to realize that when I choose to not live with resentment for other people, when I choose to accept where I am at completely, when I choose to honor my wherever I'm at completely, then I work through that resentment faster. I so then, because I am honoring my needs, then I'm able to honor other people's needs in a better way. I'm able to maybe find solutions that don't create resentment in me. So the question is simply this: match the not the question, the idea is simply this: match people where they are at. So if or not even match people. Do things for people only if you feel that you can do things for them without feeling resentment. If you do things for people and you know that you're going to feel resentment for it, don't do it. But do things for people only if you feel that you're going to feel if you know that you can do it without, you can give without feeling resentment, even if they don't give you anything back. You don't do it with a sense of expectation. I'm doing this, so I need this thing from this person, otherwise it, no. Do it because you want to do it. It'll feel good for you to do it, right? It has to come from inside you. You will feel good for to do it, whether they reciprocate or not, or or whatever they are giving to you naturally, whatever comes to them naturally is enough for you. Whatever they are able to give to you in their natural flow, they don't have to actually do anything. It's just a part of their subconscious nature to give in the way they are giving. Everybody has a way to give in the way they are giving. So if you're comfortable with that, if that's enough for you, and if you feel that you can give without expecting or without feeling resentment that they didn't give anything else, then give. Otherwise, you're just forcing them, right? Otherwise, you're giving something to them, and you're not being authentic, because you're giving something to them in order to you're forcing them to get you something. You're not letting them be in their natural space. Their natural space is, this is what I want to give naturally to you, and if you give me more, that's okay, but this is where I'm comfortable giving. But now you're giving more, and then you're expecting them to go out of their natural space and out of their comfort space, and that doesn't work either. Okay. So yes, and you might lose people in the process, but what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating space. You're going to be so I have lost a friend in this last month, a new friend. I've potentially lost a potential study partner, which feels very sad to me. I mean, it feels sad. But I was like, I need to set this boundary, otherwise I'm going to feel resentful, and this is not going to be healthy. And I have lost a potential client. And all of those are okay. I am feeling very good about myself, and my relationship with people from my end is completely intact. From my end, from my side of the thing, I am good with all these people, and if these people come back into my life, I will be able to include them in my life without any problem, with these boundaries set. That I need this. If you're able to give me this, then I'm very comfortable with having a relationship with you. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I feel like okay. I feel like maybe there is this little one point, like, why do you choose not feeling resentment over not feeling shame? Is because when you why I chose it, when I choose myself, when I choose my needs, when I choose to spend my time on myself. I don't want to spend an hour driving, or I don't want to spend this doing something for somebody, because I have things to do, and I'm considering my needs to be important in that time. And if I feel like doing something for somebody because I naturally want to, that's okay. But in this case, I don't really know that person very well, and I don't feel like doing that. So if I'm choosing that, then I am respecting myself. I'm feeling less of a doormat. I know I'm not a doormat, like, I'm respecting myself. Other people are respecting me also, because they know my boundaries. Because what people will do many times is, if you give people, they will just keep taking. They will just keep asking for more and more and more, and we will keep feeling more and more resentful. So they will understand that I value my time, I value myself, so they will value me more. Because people will value you at the level that you value yourself. People will value your time and your effort at the level that you value yourself. And that's not a bad thing. It's not like, you also will be doing the same thing with other people. You will value people at the level that they value themselves. So it's not just that the other way around. Look at the mirror as well. This is how we all work. This is how we all function. So when we value ourselves and our needs, then other people also value us. It's kind of the opposite. It feels like the opposite. And yes, you lose some people, but the people that you gain in your life will be far better. So you're creating the space. You're removing all the noise from your life. You're removing all the low effort, low energy noise from your life, and you're giving space for the high energy, high effort thing. And do you know that that high energy, high effort people will come into your life? You don't. This is where trust and surrender comes into God, or whatever you believe, universe, or whatever you believe in. This is where trust and surrender comes in, because when you have an empty space, it is so important for us to have space in our lives, because it is only when we have space in our lives that something good can come in. So if we have no space, then there is nothing can fill our box. Our box is already full. But if we have space, then something comes in, this doesn't feel right, okay, I let it go. Something else comes in, no, this doesn't feel right, I let it go. And sometimes it might be months, sometimes it might be days, weeks, months, years even. But we have to completely have that trust that one day our box will be filled. And anyways, our box cannot be filled by anything external. Our box can only be filled, our true real joy can only come from God. So we only want to surround ourselves with people who we feel nourished by. And if for whatever reason we're not feeling nourished, even if it means that we are at a low consciousness level right now, even if we know for a fact that this is a low consciousness act by not giving this person something, or whatever, it is okay. We still choose where we are at, and we choose to feel good where we are at about ourselves, about fulfilling our needs. That's what self love and self acceptance is. We fulfill our needs, even if we know that someday we are going to get to a higher consciousness level, and but we can't force it. We can't do that thing for that person and then become higher consciousness level. That doesn't work. If we're forcing, we are feeling resentful, and in fact we are going slower at becoming that higher consciousness level. We're not going as fast. But if we're choosing ourselves, then our growth to that higher place becomes faster. Okay, I think now I'm complete. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Wish you a day filled with lots and lots of personal and spiritual growth. Radhe Radhe.